Welcome, everybody. This is Pastor Josh at Franconia Mennonite Church here with Pastor Mark and Pastor Kyle. And we wanted to just send a quick video out to you to let you know one of the ways that we are responding to the current situation that we are in with COVID-19. We recognize that there are lots of implications in the midst of this situation, one of which is being the significant financial difficulties that many within our church as well as within our broader community are facing. And so we wanted to share with you some of the ways that we are hoping to respond to that. This video will focus specifically on how we are responding to the community needs outside of our congregation. But just as a reminder, we do have what's called a sharing fund. The sharing fund is for providing financial assistance for those who are members of our faith family, members of the church here who need financial assistance. If you're watching this as a member of Franconia and you are experiencing a financial need, or you are aware of someone else in our church who has a financial need, that sharing fund is the place to go. And we would just say for that, please let us know. We know sometimes there can be a stigma about reaching out and asking for help. You know, these are unprecedented times. We recognize that many are going to experience financial needs. We're hearing about some of those already. And so just know that you are not alone. And please let us know. We want to help where we can. That's the sharing fund for those within our church. We also have what's called a community needs fund, which is for those who are not part of the church. And particularly in the situation that we are in now, we are expecting that to have a lot more activity. And so we want to share with you some of the ways that as a church, we are responding to those community needs. And so Pastor Mark, I know there was a board meeting that took place recently. Can you just share with us kind of the headline that came out of that board meeting as it relates to financial needs in our community, and then talk a little bit more about the process and the purpose of what was established?
Sure, glad to do that. The board met on Tuesday evening this week and really worked on deciding two quick responses. The first is to authorize $10,000 to go to the, let me remember the name of it here. It is the Keystone Opportunity Center. And they're an organization we work with very closely here in Souderton. And they're in touch with people in real financial need. So $10,000 was authorized by church board to meet those needs. And the second thing we did is to open the spigot more in our community needs fund, to empower our members to be aware of folks that they interact with and to make that available to them. A little bit more about the process. This grew out of a discussion that we had last week with the 2020 Vision team. We were asking, in light of the current crisis, what does a year of radical hospitality mean? So we came up with a couple ideas and we wrote up a proposal to church board. And that's the piece that we would like to talk about primarily in this video. It is to say, what does being a radically hospitable congregation mean for our neighbors and our friends, our co-workers, even some of our family members who are disconnected from church, who are unbelievers. We think this is a great time to share the gospel and also to be in touch with financial needs that folks have. So the specific action the church board took was to respond to this recommendation that came from the 2020 Vision team. And it is to take the account in our budget for community needs, which is $5,500, and expand that up an additional $15,000. So we're looking at something a little north of $20,000 and really making that available for our members to be aware of those around them that have critical unpaid bills as a way of sharing the love of Christ with them.
Yeah, thank you. So we, just to summarize, we have had a sharing fund for internal members and a community needs fund that we have already as a budget line item. Kyle, can you talk a little bit about how that community needs fund has worked in the past And then now that we're going to be expanding the Community Needs Fund in light of the current reality, what are some things that we want to encourage our church members to be on the lookout for in order to get more of our neighbors to access that fund?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Josh. So in the past, how the community needs account would work is somebody from the community would reach out to the church, whether it was through a call into Monique in our front office, and that would come to me, or they would just come in off of the street and come into the office and talk with me. And how that would look is I would either be able to bring them back to the office and have a conversation with them or give them a call back. And so I would sit down with them and basically kind of just an informal interview with them and ask them what their need is, and ask them kind of other, fine questions as how they got into this situation, or do they have help coming from anywhere else? Have they reached out to other churches? Have they reached out to other organizations in the community for help? And then after that interview process, something else I would do is I would actually call over to Keystone Opportunity Center. They've been a great partner with us in assisting us with our community needs account. And so I would call over to them and say, have you heard of this person before? Have they reached out to you for help? Can you give me a little bit more information about them? And that's not to keep things super restrictive on our end, but it's so we can be good stewards with the money that the Lord has blessed us with to help the community as well. We want to try and help as many people as possible in the community that are in need of a situation, in need of help. Excuse me. So then after that, what would happen is I would meet together with the pastors during our pastoral team meeting on Tuesday, and I would go over the community need that has come up. And what we would do is we would talk about it. The pastors would ask me, has this person received help in the past? What has that looked like? And we basically go around and approve it. Now, the way our guidelines are set up, if it goes over a certain amount, that would actually move on to the outreach ministry team who oversees the community need account. Again, we do have these guidelines in place, but it's not to keep things super restrictive. Like I said, it's to be good stewards with our money. As of now that the church board has been willing to expand this account, how this would look is a little bit different. And as far as these guidelines go, it's something that Pastor Mark, Josh, and I are going to be working on to open up the guidelines a little bit more to help our community during this crisis right now. So what to be on the lookout for you as a congregation? Well, especially unchurched and non-believers, nearby neighbors, coworkers, and associates that are disconnected family members, inactive members from Franconia Mennonite Church, some of those that are unable to meet their needs right now. What the point of this is that we want to give you, the congregation, a sense of empowerment. We want you to feel empowered to make those personal connections and help them in this way during this time of crisis.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, so hopefully you can hear in this that we have had some policies in place for responding to needs. And we recognize that we are now in unprecedented times. And so we're trying to be both sturdy and flexible. We want to be nimble in our response, but also be good stewards. And so let me just give you a hypothetical situation. How would this actually play out in a practical setting? I have a phone conversation with a guy who lives down the street from me. He lives on my block, and I call to check in, and I hear that he's been laid off from work, and maybe the nature of his work that he's not eligible for unemployment. And so he's laid off from work and he has payments. I could say to him, like, hey, my church has this community needs fund. We would love to help out with some of that. And then I would come to the church on behalf of my neighbor, and there would be funds available that then check could be made out to cover that bill on his behalf. So we are really looking for you, the church, for you, the congregation, to be the primary ones to let us know about the needs in our community. We did not want to do just a broad, wide open, hey, we got funds available for anybody. We believe that there is something important and significant about the personal relationship that goes with that. So we are looking for and hoping and encouraging that you, the congregation, will actively touch base with your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, especially those who don't know Christ. And this could be a real opportunity to open further levels of communication and relationship. So we just really want to encourage you and free you to do that.
Let me just tag in on that, Josh. That's very well said. We really want all of us to see ourselves as agents of Christ's radical hospitality in the relationships that we already have. And it's a way that we believe we can show the kindness of Christ, but we don't want it to be primarily financial. That's really a means for communicating the love of Christ. We also want this to open up doors for conversations about faith, about church, about family. We just see this as a way to connect in ways that are life-giving, to be the salt and light, hands and feet and voice of Jesus in this moment.
That's good. Well said. Just as we kind of wrap up here, we are reminded, Paul writes in Galatians 6 to carry each other's burdens. And in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. Ultimately, that is what this is about. It is about Christ. It is about fulfilling the law of love that Christ calls all of us to. And one of the ways we do that is by carrying each other's burdens. So we are grateful for you, our faith community. We are grateful for the generosity of our people. And we are grateful for the ways that you have already been asking us. How can we respond to the needs that are around us? We want to do that with your help. So thanks for being who you are. We're looking forward to finding ways that we can faithfully follow Jesus, even in the midst of this. So thanks so much. We look forward to staying in touch. And please let us know about needs that you come across.
Amen.
Love you
Amen.
guys.
Well put.